Well, hello everybody. Hopefully you guys are all having a really good day, and we are going to be doing a my all-time favorite, the Joker, and it's not going to be the Heath Ledger version. It's going to be the new Joaquin Phoenix Joker, which I am super excited about. Coming out here in October. The first trailer is the bomb. The second trailer was over the top. So I am like super excited about this movie. So I can't wait until October comes around so I can go and watch this movie. I did rearrange some things because I want to do this in black light. So I want to do it kind of in the black light and also in daylight. So I don't really know how I'm going to do this. I just gonna kind of go with it, and if it comes out really cool, that's awesome. If it doesn't come out really cool, oh well, I'm still gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make a video of it anyway. So even if this painting turns out really horrible, I'm gonna still make a video out of it, and I'm still gonna post it, because we can't all have like great paintings all the time. You know, there's always got to be a bad one here or there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you if I have a weakness in something, and you know what, we'll just power on through it and we'll do what we can do, the best that I can do. And we're just gonna have fun. So hopefully you guys have fun too. And let me spin you around here. We will get everything set up and we'll roll. You guys will get a kick out of this lamp stand right here. It doesn't work no more. It's all broken. But I use this to do all my videos. So I set my web camera right here. And then this is my little shoelace thingy here. And I just wrap the web camera around a bunch of times, and then I'll tie it, and voila! I got me a web camera stand without buying one. And it actually flexes too, so that's even cool. But so yeah, this thing was all broken, and my trash became my treasure, I guess you can say. But it had this little fixture thing over here that had like a light bulb on here. I pulled that off, and then it had another little lampshade looking thing up here. I ripped that off with my bare hands. And here is my 60 watt black light, and I got another lamp stand here that I got it zip tied on here, because I love using zip ties. They always work. So that's my little contraption, my little MacGyver put together. I just tied you up on my web camera stand, so now you are all nice and even, and you're level, and you're not all wobbly. So here is my canvas panel. It is another 18 by 24 inch, and it's a flat one again. I got a little bit of a head start on this. I did go ahead and put this Liquitex gesso on the board, but I didn't do any kind of painting or anything like that. It just has 2 coats of this on here, and we're just gonna work off of that. This is Joaquin Phoenix. This is his little happy face, and we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna mix some paint up. Oh, and since we're doing the Joker theme, I've got my Joker shirt on here. So he's gonna be giving me some extra superpowers. I got my 1 ounce bottle. I got my Wicked paint. This is the Wicked UV Glow base. And my squeeze bottle. This has got the high performance reducer in it. I just kind of poured it all into this little bottle so it's more easier to squeeze out. Give it a good shake. I'm just gonna pour just a little bit in there. Maybe like that. And then now my reducer. Just gonna kind of squeeze. Whoop. So I got about that much in there, just a little bit. And I can always add more paint, or I can always add more reducer. I dimmed my lights a little bit, so it's kind of a little bit more darker in here. And I got my airbrush already ready to go. I got my paint all mixed up. That's ready to rock and roll. And I'm gonna turn my air compressor on, and then we're gonna throw on the black light. So with the UV Glow base, I'm gonna take and start working on his face. We're gonna kind of see what this all looks like, and hopefully it's pretty cool. Hopefully it's pretty fun, and won't know until we try. So let's go. I turned off my black light, and this paint is actually like invisible. It looks like there's no paint on there at all, but when you turn on the UV, the black light, it just it turns really blue and it looks sweet. I do notice that my paint is a little bit thick, so I'm gonna switch out my airbrush. I'm switching out my the Micron, and I got me a 0.5 millimeter needle. This is an Iwata Revolution. So this will be able to push out the thicker paint, because this right here, the Micron, is a 0.23 millimeter needle. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna switch it over. I have an idea. Since we're playing under the black light, I'm gonna go ahead and customize my airbrush here. Throw some paint on here. I might throw a little bit of the blue on here, and I got me some this fluorescent yellow. I might just mess around with it and kind of customize it a little bit. I think that'd be kind of fun. So yeah, let's go off topic for a little bit, and we'll paint our little airbrushy thing. There we go. Now it's official. It's a Smile airbrush. So I got my thicker size needle for the airbrush, so then I don't have to reduce any more of my paint, because I don't want to over reduce it, because it'll take a lot of layers to make it blue. So I want to try to make it opaque as I can without over reducing it. So yep, we got a thicker needle and we got some thicker paint, so we're all ready to go. And I just put me a orange smiley face on there. Because in the new movie, he's got an orange tuxedo on. So I figured I'd just go ahead and put a little orange smiley face on there. Woo-hoo-hoo! I made some good progress tonight, and I gotta quit because I am like super tired, and my eyeballs, if you can see them. So I am bailing tonight, and dude, this looks phenomenal. If you were sitting here with me right now, just because pictures and video don't do itself justice, this looks just awesome. This little mystery paint, whatever this is super, super cool. And the airbrush is running really nice with the thicker needle, so I'm not having any kind of problem with the coverage or any kind of spit or spatter. But man, Joaquin, you are looking killer looking. So Joaquin, my goodness, I love you, and hopefully you have a good night there, buddy. And I'm gonna have myself a good night, and we'll wake up tomorrow and we'll be back at it to fill your face in a little bit more. So good night, everybody. And I'll be back tomorrow night. Hello, everybody. So I got a lot of rest. I got a bunch of energy. I got my purple shirt on, my Joker purple. And yeah, we're going to do some more painting on this thing. And I got me a paintbrush right here. And I got me the Wicked UV, and I want to do his eyeballs. I've been waiting. I've been putting it off for a little bit, so I want to get on in there, and I like the eyeballs. They look really, really cool. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to brighten these things up, give them some life. I've been thinking a little bit more. The background back here, I want to do it in black, and then a couple of these little strands of hair, I want to do it in the UV glow, so his hair will kind of be like a little bit of a blue. And then I was thinking down here towards the bottom, like his suit and his tuxedo, doing it in a orange and doing the under shirt in some kind of purple or this raspberry, just to get everything, you know, kind of colorful and bright, and it glows really nice under the UV. But also I want his face to be like the main part. So that's why I'm thinking of doing this right here in the background behind his head in kind of a black. I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm thinking. I may change, but I do want to get his eyeballs in there. And yeah, we'll just keep on going. Rock and roll. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I got some Create Text Black, and I put it in a little bottle here. So it's pretty watered down as far as the mix ratio. So I'm just going to go and we're going to start off just a little bit. I want to see how much coverage I can put over top of the UV glow, and so hopefully I can cover that up. I got my airbrush loaded with some black, and we're going to do a little practice right here, just a little bit of a sample, and see how well the black shows up. If it doesn't, I'm going to go ahead and pour more of the black into my 2-ounce bottle to thicken it up, and it'll be a lot darker. So I don't know. We're going to just go ahead and try it, and if it doesn't work, then we'll thicken it up. If it does work, then we'll just keep on rolling. So let's shoot some black. I got carried away and I painted both of his eyes here, and I started working down underneath his nose. I kind of have a little bit of a problem. I was thinking about painting this whole face in the UV glow, so getting it all blue and then shading it with the black. But it's kind of got a purple hue to it. So I think if I just blew it out, just put just blue all over, and then go back in with the black and kind of shade it and give it a little bit of shadow and stuff over top of the blue, I think it would look a lot better. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to clean out my airbrush, we're going to get the black all shot out, we're going to pour in the blue, and we're going to blue this whole thing, and then we're going to go in and we're going to shade it with the black. I gotta be honest, it looks kind of weird right now. Some of you guys are probably thinking, what is he doing? I really don't know what I'm doing. But I think it looks a little bit better than what it was. So I think we're making a little bit of progress. I do like adding the blue in there, and then I'm gonna go back in with the black and shade around his face and on his face and all over his face. So it kind of gets rid of all this purple weird stuff going on. So that's a plus. And, you know, these spots right here I left because that's going to be, you know, straight black. But yeah, slowly but surely it's coming along the way I want it. But yeah, I'm still having a bunch of fun with this, and it's coming, you know, it's turning out pretty cool. You know, we're just slowly chipping away, making progress little by little. And plus, a picture doesn't really look that great until you're more towards the end of the picture. So when we got quite a bit of layers and stuff like that, it'll start to kind of change over from being kind of a turd to a polished turd to something really awesome. So we're kind of in the turd stage, and you know what? We're just making progress, and you know, we're just keep at it. I did do a little bit of off-camera painting. I'll just kind of explain what I did and where I painted at. I did do a little bit here on down through his neck and his jawline with the black. Kind of got some shading here on his nose. I did his eyebrow up here. I did a little bit more here on his mouth. But basically, it's just the same thing as what I've been doing. Is just going in with the black and just kind of doing some dark areas and doing a little bit of shading with it. But I like to kind of jump around on the page and not work the same spot over and over. So what I want to do is I want to stop with the black, and I figure I would go ahead and get on down with the fluorescent sunburst orange for his coat, and then the inside of his coat, maybe do some fluorescent raspberry. So I think that would be kind of fun and kind of get away from his face and start chipping away down here, because I haven't done anything down here on the bottom of the pictures. I gotta say that I'm absolutely loving painting with this airbrush. This is the very first airbrush that I ever owned. This is the one that my mom bought me for Christmas a long time ago, and it works beautiful. It still works just like the day I opened it up and I painted for the very first time. So I'm enjoying the heck out of using this Iwata Revolution. And it's going to have no problem pushing out the thicker fluorescent paints because it's got a thicker needle. And I will probably still reduce the fluorescent paints just because they're so thick. So I'll probably start at around like a 50-50 mix ratio. So we'll go ahead and we'll start. I'll throw on the black light, and then we'll mix up a fluorescent color. An important note when you're mixing it into the airbrush is pour the reducer in first, and then put the paint in next. So always reducer first, and then add the paint. It'll make a little bit easier as far as the mixing. So yeah, let's go ahead and we'll mix up a color, and we'll start shooting some fluorescent paint. The orange looks nice. I got a little bit of some squiggly marks here to kind of add a little bit of texture. Man, the orange looks really, really cool. And then you got the raspberry. I love the colors together. What I'm picturing now is I'd like to jump on in and do like some of the background. And I'm going to go about doing that. My reference picture looks like there's a little bit of light coming back from his shoulders coming this way. So what I want to do is I want to throw in some of the blue here around his shoulders. On the tops of them, and then kind of fade it up, and then we're going to do a couple little strands of hair, and then we're going to black out the rest of it with the black, and that'll make his face really pop. And we still got a little bit more details to go in there and do that. So yeah, we're making progress, little by little, and I think when this is all done and finished, I think it's going to look really, really killer looking. So let's keep going. Woo, this is looking really good. And I know when I use this black here and I start to black out this whole background, This blue is gonna really light up and this orange is gonna pop, and it's looking killer. I got my bottle of Createx Black. It's about a 50-50 mix ratio, and we're gonna start to black out this. But before we do, I wanna mention that his hair right down here is gonna be black because I got the background kind of a glow. But then again, up here on the top of his head, the more you move up, his hair is glowing, so the background's gonna be black. So it's kind of hard to explain. So right here, the background is gonna be black up here on the top, but then the farther you go down, his hair is gonna be black. So it's gonna be kind of a reverse. Kind of get me? You'll kind of see, you know, when I start to paint. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm going to pour in a lot of drops of black, and it's going to be Operation Blackout has begun. So we're going to cover the background in black. So let's roll. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with a stencil here. This is just a poster board. I just cut it out to the shape I want it with a razor blade. And the part that I want black, and I want to separate it from the blue. So I want a really nice crisp edge. So all I'm going to do is just take the stencil, and I'm just going to lay it over top of the blue, and then I'm just going to spray black. And that's going to give me a really nice clean edge. So we're just going to put the stencil down. Spray black, and you got your nice hard edge. So I'm just going to continue doing it on all the way up. Oh man, oh man. Do you guys see what I see? This little spot right here? I totally kind of made an oopsie. I was mixing some more black, and I grabbed a hold of the reducer and squeezed it too hard, and it went, squirted out, and boink, went right onto his little suit here. So then I finally figured, oh, you know what? I'll just go ahead and I'll dab it, which dabbing it made it worse. And then I had a genius idea of using my shirt, which is purple. So these little two spots here, the purple dye went straight on here, so now I got a purple spot. Oh, man. But you know what? It's okay, because I think I can mess with it, and I can play around with it, and I think I can cover that up. But you know what? It is what it is, and you just kind of roll with it. Yeah, I think I can kind of do like a little abstract-y kind of art down here on the suit. Figure, you know what the heck, the damage is already done, so let's just play with it. And plus, this is just a practice piece anyways, just to see how this UV glow stuff works. But yeah, what do you know? You just don't pay attention for a second, and but it's okay. I'm not sweating it. It's fun. It's been fun. It's been fun. So we're gonna perform a little bit of surgery here. I was thinking I could put like a button over there, or maybe I can just darken it a little bit, just kind of shade it over and make it disappear. But you know what? I'm feeling kind of like doing some experimenting with this, and what I come up with is probably a bad idea. But you know what? Heck with it. We're making art and we're having fun. So I'm going to drop in a couple drops into this cup here, and then I'm going to reduce it down, get it kind of watery, kind of throw on a couple drops, and then maybe tilt the canvas so it's kind of draining this way, and maybe I can cover it up, and then maybe I'll do that on the other side. I don't know. I'm just going to kind of play with it and see what it looks like. It's probably going to be pretty funky, but you know what? We're having fun. Screw this, man. We're having fun. And, you know what? No one's going to stop me. So, let's mix this up and let's turn a bad idea into a good idea, or more like a good idea into a bad idea. That was kind of fun and exciting, so guess what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix up some fluorescent raspberry like I did with the orange, and then we're just going to dump it off on there and just let it run. We're making art. That looks pretty cool. It kind of looks like his jacket and stuff is kind of just like blowing and kind of deteriorating off the page. Interesting effect. Okay, so it is a brand new day, and I wanted to make sure all this paint down here fully dried, so I left the canvas flat just so it didn't drip anymore. So we are carried on to the next day. So this is kind of what I want to do and get done today, is I want to do some of this black shading right here on the side of his face, and I just want to transfer it over here. This side is kind of getting neglected a little bit, so we're gonna do that. And I was thinking about his eyeball, since they're blue and then his whole face is kind of blue, so it kind of blends in. I'm thinking about using a little bit of a green just to kind of break up the blue, maybe just go around his eyeball just a little bit. And I think I might end up using the graffiti paint. This is just a fluorescent green, and maybe just spraying the outsides of the canvas, just kind of giving it a mist, kind of a dusting. I think that would be kind of cool, and it, kind of bring green into the Joker picture. So let's go have fun and let's roll. Yeah, and FYI, I did switch out my airbrush, so I am using the Iwata CMC. This is the Micron, so this is kind of like my go-to favorite airbrush. So I figure I would kind of, paint with it for a little bit here, but I want to kind of stop because there's something that is kind of bugging me a little bit, and that is this little squiggly line. This has got to go. So I kind of thought about it for a little while, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of keep staring at it, and I'm like, yeah, that's got to be fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and use this Liquitex. This is the primer that I use for the whole canvas. So I figure I would just kind of spongy it on the end of the brush, kind of brush over it, let it dry real good. If I need a second coat, I'll do a second coat, and then I'm going to blast over it with the UV Glow base, and it should be all gone. Hopefully it'll be all hidden, and my surgery will be complete. So let's go ahead and let's knock this out and get rid of that, and I think it'll look a lot more cooler. So let's roll. I did use the corner of the brush here for a second coat, so it's got about 2 coats on here. So you really can't see it a whole lot. I'm just gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna blast over with some of this UV Glow, and hopefully that covers it up. I'll probably have to use a little bit brighter here and just kind of fade it out a little bit, but I don't know. Half this stuff I really don't know what I'm doing anyway, so we're just kind of rolling with the flow and seeing what we can come up with. So mistakes are inevitable. You can't have a flawless piece every time. So voila! And I have made quite a bit of mistakes on this so far, and especially over here. I didn't video this, but I blasted a whole bunch of black paint right here. So luckily I was able to dab that off real quick and kind of fill that back over so it's kind of not noticeable. So I have had my fair share of screw-ups on this piece so far, but you know what? We're learning how to fix mistakes. Oh yeah, so it is kind of hard to tell now. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. If I need to make another coat, I will make another coat. But, when I go back over it with some of the black here, so I'm just going to kind of put in a couple little details and stuff like that, and a little bit of shading here. And then that should camouflage it in pretty good, and then you probably won't even notice. But I did shake up some green here. I got some fluorescent green, and I figure I would just go around the eyes a little bit and kind of make it a blue and green. Woo! Man, this looks so cool. Looks so cool. I wish the camera would do justice showing the green. But dude, this looks really sick in person. And I took the green and I kind of made it like a halo effect around the black, so it kind of gives it more of a glow. But his pupil over here is not the same size as this one, so I will have to make this one just a little bit bigger. But dang, I'm in love with what I just did. So that looks so cool. Alright, so in my last video, I showed you how I put my airbrush back together. This time, I'm going to show you how I disassemble it and I clean it out a little bit. So this is just going to be a quick clean, and this is kind of what I do every time I stop painting for the day, because the longer you let the paint sit in there, the harder it is to take it out and get everything disassembled, because the paint and stuff kind of gets all gummed up in here. So I usually do this about every time I stop painting for the day, and then I disassemble it, kind of clean it, and then put it in the box. And then when I get ready to paint again, I just rebuild it back up, and then I know it sprays perfect every time. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the back here. Doo-doo. Lay that down, and then I'm going to take off this little chucking nut here. Doo-doo. And then we're going to take off the front cap. Doo-doo. And then we're going to get the little wrenchy wrench and kind of put it on there and give it a little twisty twist. Spin that off with your fingers. Now we just push the needle forward. And then just kind of next we're gonna clean the needle, and this right here is Restore. So I just got me a bottle of it, and then I just cut the top of it off. So all I have to do is just dip the needle right on down in there. And then we just wipe it off with a napkin or a paper towel. Now that we got a squeaky clean needle, it looks pretty good. Just gonna go ahead and set that to the side, and we got the airbrush here, so we got a little bit of paint going on up in there. I'm just gonna get me a little eyedropper here, and we're just gonna dip it on in there, fill it up a little bit, and squirt it in the cup, and just let it run out the front. So just kind of do that a couple times. I got me an old paintbrush here, and I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna dip it in the solution, the airbrush cleaner, and then we're gonna swirl it on in the cup. Kind of get some of the paint scrubbed away from the sides of the walls of the cup. Just kind of work it back and forth. And you can kind of get up in there and twist it around a little bit up in the front. Just like that. It's looking a little better. So after using the paintbrush in there to kind of get everything nicely cleaned, I just get me a Q-tip here, and then we're just gonna push it on down in there and give it a good rinse. This is just a dry Q-tip. And we're gonna kind of swirl it around in there the best we can. Something like that. Let's do another rinse. Go fill the eyedropper up, drop it on in there, and let it flow through the front. Whee! I got my nicely cleaned needle here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it backwards. So I got the pointy end here, and I got the dull end here, and I'm just gonna go in this way, and we're gonna run it through the front, straight on out. And clean the needle. And this right here is pushing all the paint out the front. And we'll do it the second time. Right on through, right out the front. And you might need to do this several times until you see no paint comes out on the needle, because you will see little fragments of paint when you're pulling it out the front. You'll kind of see a little bit here, so you want to make it so you don't see nothing anymore on the needle when it comes out the front. So keep on going. So after doing that a couple times, I take off the backing. So I take this piece off. Take the spring out. And take this piece out. And we're going to take the trigger out. And there's another little piece in there, so there you go. Flip it upside down, and it's that little piece right here that goes behind the trigger. I got you looking at the front of the airbrush, and see all this little paint here built up on the front. We need to get that out of there, so I will show you how. I got me my napkin here, and I'm gonna tear off a little piece in the shape of a triangle. We're just gonna go something like this, and something like this. So something like that. And then we're gonna roll it with our fingers. There we go. And keep going, keep going. Something like that. So then I take the prison shank napkin and we're gonna stick it right on into the front. Kind of twisty twist. And it'll kind of come through the front of the cup here. Kind of rotate it around, clean the inside. And pull it out. So you might need to do that a couple times, maybe make a couple more of these things and just keep doing it over and over until it looks pretty clean. And right now it does look pretty nice. On occasion, I do forget about cleaning this out, and maybe I left in some paint overnight or for a couple days and it dries up and it hardens, and it's very difficult to get out in here. So I do use this little brushy brush. And it does have a little bit of a point on the front, just a little metal sharp point. So I'd be extra careful when I push it in because I don't want to scratch any of the metal in here. So I just go really easy and just go right on in the front. Just give it a little push. It'll come through the cup here. You keep on pushing. And then it'll come right out the back. And then you just pull straight on out. And that does a really good job of cleaning the inside of any of the dried paint. And then you just get your little eyedropper here and we just squeeze it on in there and just flush out the front. So usually I do have a little bit of the cleaner fluid here on the front. If you look down the front, it's a black hole. You don't see any daylight coming through it. So what I like to do is put my finger over that hole, over this one, and on the top, and I just give it a little blow straight down in the cup and it'll force the fluid straight out the front. So just give it a little something like that. So next what I like to do is look down the barrel of the airbrush. So looking down, and you want to see a nice full moon and no paint debris that's left in the barrel. So that looks really nice. And then I like to turn it around, look down the front. Oh yeah, it looks all brand new. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. So that is a squeaky clean inside airbrush. Here is the little cap that goes on the front. I like to take the paintbrush here, dip it on into the Restore, and just kind of brush over the front, kind of loosen up the paint that's on the tip. You can use a old toothbrush. This is basically like a toothbrush. Take one of these little bristle looking things here and insert it right on into the hole, and you can just kind of work it around. And that'll loosen up any of the paint that's built up in there. Just like this. And there you go. You got a nice clean tip. So the last thing I have to clean is the needle nozzle here. And this is how I like to do it. There are other ways, so feel free if you want to clean it with some napkins here, and you can always dip it on down into the airbrush cleaner and you can stick it on in just like this. And just kind of rotate it around. I've been doing this for quite a while, and this is the original needle. So I've taken this airbrush apart probably thousands and thousands of times, and I have not broken the tip of the needle or bent it or anything like that. Like I said, this is the original needle. So I like to go very, very gently, just because this stuff is really expensive if you have to replace it. But I like to dip it on into the solution here. This is the airbrush cleaner. And then we're just going to go really easy, kind of let the airbrush cleaner kind of set in there a little bit, loosen up the paint, and I just kind of go in a circular motion, kind of a clockwise, and loosen up some of the paint. Just kind of maybe push it out of the front a little bit. So you just got to go really gentle. And just keep on working it. And one thing is, you don't want to push the needle too hard into the needle nozzle because you'll actually flour the front end. So instead of the needle nozzle like this, it'll be more like this. And then you'll end up having to replace it. But I never had to replace anything on this airbrush. So that is good. So I just kind of keep on working. And you take your time, make it therapeutic, make it fun, because you don't want to get into a rush. And then you'll see some of the paint kind of coming out. Just wipe it off with your finger. See? Got more. And it looks pretty good. But like I said, if you want to, you can always use, like a napkin. That'll be safe. Or if you want to kind of dip like a toothbrush into the airbrush cleaner, and you can always push a couple of these little bristles down in the center, and then you can always rotate it around. That'll clean the inside. So however you want to do it, that's just my way of doing it, is just using the tip of the needle. Like I said, I go really, really easy, and I don't get into a rush, and I just keep dipping and swirling and dipping and swirling and being really easy with it, and it always works out. The last thing I do is I got the needle nozzle here, and I just take a quick look down the center, and I don't see no paint debris in there whatsoever. It looks really good, and that is it for the cleaning. So I'll leave off with, that is just how I clean. I'm not telling you that you have to clean like that. This is just what's been working for me, and this is just all my opinion. So you have your right to clean and airbrush however you want to. So I just found out what works for me, and that's just how I like to do it. And I just turn on some music and I just run with it, and but before I know it, I'm already done. So I can do it pretty quick. But yeah, I just want to say that you do it the way you want to. By all means, if you want to try it that way one time, you sure can. Oh, and I forgot to put a lid on my little airbrush cleaner. So I got me a little plastic lid from Wendy's. Just put that on there. Whee! Alright, so we're almost done, and we're almost at the end of this painting. But I want to still get his pupil here bigger on this side. There's a couple little details that I want to do over here on the side of his mouth. And then I want to take probably a couple pieces of paper, maybe tape it over top of his face here, just to mask off his face real quick. And then we're going to see how this works, and maybe just get a little bit of a mist here. So that'll be fun. And then I think that's probably about all I want to do with this. And then we will call it done. We'll have to clear coat it later when I get all that set up out there in the garage. Look at this, man! I had so much fun, and I hope you guys had a blast watching me paint this thing. And my goodness, the green spray paint, that fluorescent green graffiti paint, that was off the hook. I absolutely love using that stuff. I don't know if it was the paint itself or if it was the nozzle, but it felt really good when I was spraying it. It's different than the regular cans of spray paint that I have been using in the past. But oh man, I am just, oh wow, that is just so cool. And I got to use stuff that I never used, like the glow paint. That was a big trip for me to use that and paint with that. And like I said, like the green paint, never used that before, so that was fun. And we did make quite a bit of mistakes here. I didn't film all of the mistakes that I did, but you know what? In the end, man, I love the way it came out, and that is all that matters. So I just want to thank everybody for watching. So basically the only thing I have left is I'll sign my name down here in the corner, and we'll take some pictures, and woo! I am on cloud 10, y'all. I had a fun time, as you can tell. So I just want to say thanks everybody again for staying with me and watching me paint. Like I said, I hope you guys had a lot of fun. And even if you skip to the end to see the end result, I am so cool with that. You don't have to watch every minute of my video. So right on. And I will be back in another video here coming up. And yeah, thanks everybody, and I will see you guys later. So bye bye.